but I've started recording. Hey, hi Apu, thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we'll get started. People will join in, and as in when we are going on, if they miss the first few kilometers, I think we'll allow them to catch up. Anyway, it's we're recording some parts of it, so yeah, I'll share that. Share that as we go. Jay, I think just to get started and little bit of context setting from my side, and then I'll pass it over to you. We've been really super inspired by a whole lot of your run ventures in the past. I think you bring a very different mindset to the whole idea of running, right from your story about why you started, that your South Africa days and so on, and then more recently the runs that you do to Puttaparthi, right?
Yes.
The last few years, those runs that you have been doing are all hugely inspiring. Plus, you also do take part in events, of course. Anything more than like 100-kilometer kind of distances is what really gets the attention. But you do it so seamlessly and so easily. It seems so effortless, and you have this great year-to-year smile. When you're doing these events.
Yes.
It's amazing how I've seen you pass many times on the stadium runs, and you're just so light and so happy as you do it. It's amazing. But we're talking about specifically on the most recent crazy J thing that you did, which was run to Chittoor. So maybe as we get started, I'd first like to ask you, um, why pick Chittoor? What is the story behind Chittoor as your choice for doing this run? I know Puttaparthi kind of is kind of says the story itself, but why Chittoor, Jay?
Okay, so yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Manoj. And yeah, we've done a few runs together before. More especially that one crazy run we done. I think the Outer Ring Road, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you and I. Yeah, but yeah, basically Chittoor is special to us, to me, to my family, because my granddad hails from Chittoor. Okay, so yeah, so our links, our bondage is with Chittoor, and my granddad left Chittoor at a tender age of 22. He was enticed by the British to go to South Africa for greener pastures, and yeah, so he came into South Africa, settled there, and continued working in the normal plantations and things like that. And thereafter set up farm, purchased land, set up a farm, with a banana plantation basically, and started a life. Married, of course, had children, and settled down permanently. So yeah, Chittoor has that links. Then my dad came up in 1971. My dad was the first to come up, to try to trace the family, the granddad's family. Yeah, so he came up with just a voice recording of my granddad, a photo, a very old photo, and an address, not an address, but the village. And fortunately, or somehow, he found the house, the home that my granddad was from, and my granddad's two sisters were still living there. So,
Wow.
that was major for us. And my dad spent 6 months with them, with the family. And, ever since then, the family roots or the family bondage grew. And, every year, someone from the family, like my uncles, aunties, or the children, would visit. And the first visit would be to Chittoor. Chittoor was the major point. We will get to Chittoor, as well as another uncle who's late as well, Uncle Mani, was, Auntie Padma from Chittoor as well. And it's all family. So it would be Chittoor and Chennai in terms of that. So that relationship grew, and still I chat, I'm in contact with them and many of my family members with our family in Chittoor on a daily basis.
Wow.
So we're regularly chatting to them. We visit, I visit now that I'm based here. So yeah, so it's a special place for us, and we will always treasure that. Yeah.
Great, fantastic. And is there a lot of families still in Chittoor? I mean,
yes, yeah. The family is still there. I've actually, at the end of my run, where of course the next day, because it ended up too late, went to my granddad's home, like where my granddad lived. I went to the house and I spent time with the family. So the family is still there. The house has changed a little up until recent years, where they still had the cow shed at the entrance of the house. And now I see it modernized a little, whereby, an entire setup. So yeah, the house still there. Everyone's still there. The family is still in Chittoor. So yeah, we good relationship.
amazing. So when did you start thinking about this this idea of running to Chittoor, and how
See,
did
my
this
friend,
how did this come about?
Live 9 India. He sent me the link and I'm watching it now.
Dan,
Jay.
Hey, hi Dan. I'm going to put you on mute so that we all can listen to Jay.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Go on, Jay. So when did this whole idea come about?
Yeah, so the idea behind that was, of course, when I came into India in 2018 with my family, and we settled in. And ever since I came in, I've always wanted to do something special for my family as such. My grandfather, my dad, my uncles and aunties who are late, and I wanted to pay respect to them for giving me, more especially my granddad, for giving me this opportunity to come to India. I came into India with an OCI, and that was through the links of my granddad. And I called it a better life for myself and my family, and I needed to do something special and endure the pain that they would have went through to come to South Africa and spend the time leaving their family. And it was the same for me, leaving my family and settling in India. I had to do something, and it started then. And unfortunately, due to COVID, and then family commitments and business commitments, I could not do it. But it's always been at the back of my mind. And 2000, this year was the year that I decided it has to be done. There's no other way. That type of thing. Yeah.
So what goes into planning, a run like this, Jay? I mean, is it more? Yeah, I mean, I understand that this has been playing in your head for a while, but I also tend to think perhaps it needs a little more than just the willingness to go there and run, right? There is a little more planning that is needed, or is it, how do you do this? Because
Yeah.
I remember myself when I was thinking of doing a ride to Chennai long time back. I think, when my daughter was just born, I was thinking, hey, I like to cycle to Chennai just to surprise them, a solo kind of a self-supported ride. But then for a good 2 to 3 months before that, I trained doing these short 100-200 kilometer rides every weekend, so that I'm kind of prepared for it. Does any of that happen with Jay, with Crazy Jay, or does he just get off one day and say, let me do
I
it?
I remember you made this comment a while back when you said, if I need to run long and I need company, I'll call Jay a day before and he'll be ready. Okay, you remember when we did the Outer Ring Road, you called me 2 days prior. And
Yeah,
you said,
absolutely.
I'm running the Outer Ring Road, would you join me? And I said, without any hesitation, yeah, I'll join you, because I've never done that before. And exactly the same with most of my runs. You know, and my run partner Satish is online, Puttapati Run, and he knows, I say, you know, I've always been maintaining the same. I try to keep it as simple as possible. You know, the KISS method. Keep it simple, do not stress myself, and get out and run. You know, and that's exactly what I've done. Yes, I would say the mental game begins. Okay, so I've got it in my mind that I need to run, but the planning for this run actually started, when I say the planning started on the Wednesday of the run. I meant to firstly run in the first week of August, and I picked up a cold and a flu. So I was trying to recover from that, and then leading to this run, I was carrying a backpack because I don't do any of the upper body strengthening, nothing of that sort. So I was carrying a backpack with about 3 to 4 kg weight for around 2 weeks, just to build up, because I knew I'm going to carry a backpack and run, doing it solo. So that created a problem with my lower back. So for about a week and a half, while still recovering from the flu, I struggled with my lower back. So I still went out, did my normal 10Ks, which I do on a daily basis to maintain my run streak. And, I continued with that, not changing anything in terms of my training methods or training patterns, done absolutely nothing in preparation as such for this. Usually when you prepare for a marathon or an ultra, you want to do a long distance in between 3 weeks, 5 weeks before. So I've just done the basics just to recover. And, I was starting to see that time was running out, and my commitment of fulfilling this in the month of August was becoming a challenge. And I decided, come what may, I'm going to do this by the end of August. I'm not waiting for September, the weekend of September. I'm doing this at the end of August. No matter what happens, I will get it done. If I cannot run, I'm going to walk. If I cannot do it in 2 days, I'll do it in 5 days. Doesn't matter to me. But I'm going to reach Chittoor whichever way. If I have to sleep, I'll sleep wherever, but I'm going to get to Chittoor. And that was my attitude. So coming back to your question, my actual preparation started on the Wednesday night of this run. I drew up a list on Wednesday afternoon, which I normally do for every run. I do up a full checklist, and I started to tick shots, headlamp, 1, 2, 3, 4, tick, 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 and keep it aside on my table. And that's when it started. My eating habits, I hope there's no coaches in this. I hope there's no coaches in this, because they're not going to be happy with what I say. But my eating, I didn't carbo load. I don't do that any longer. I've had like 500 ml of fasten up electrolytes on the Wednesday. I've had 500 ml on the Thursday. The rest of the day I was just drinking water as normal. Okay, my normal fasting, Manoj, you got me into that. The OMAD fast. I still practice that since on a Monday and on a Wednesday, on a Thursday. I still stick to that no matter what. On the Thursday, I considered breaking my fast because of the Friday run, but then I decided, no, that's taking myself out of the routine. I'm going to fast, and I stuck to that. Okay, I ended my fast at around 6 o'clock, an hour earlier, with veg biryani and Coke. That's what I ended my fast with. That was my dinner. Even though I knew I was running the next morning, that was my dinner. And I did not want to change my sleep patterns, where I'm going to start running at crazy hours of 2, 3 in the morning, because I realized that if I do that, by midday being hot, I'm going to start to feel sleepy because it's out of my normal sleep pattern and my wake up pattern. And
So
I started that, you know.
let's slow down a bit.
Yeah.
Jay, right? Um, so you started your run on Friday,
Friday morning.
Friday morning.
Yeah.
So what you're telling us is there's nothing out of the whack that you did right through the week.
Nothing.
In fact, the OMAD, just for others who are on the call who are not familiar with Jai's crazy eating habits, OMAD is 1 meal a day. So Jai does just 1 meal a day on Monday and Thursday. So the Thursday, just the day before the run, quite contrary to the carbo loading or the excuse that we give ourselves to pile crazy amounts of food. Quite contrary to that, Jay just had biryani and coke the day on the dinner and then started his run on Fridays. So that's the and you mentioned two things. One is you said you had a checklist. What is this? What does that checklist look like?
Okay, normal. I just handwrite what I need to carry. So clothing, just the clothing, whatever supplements. Yeah.
So tell us what was in the bag. You mentioned that you carried a bag so that that is 2 to 4 kgs. What was in the bag?
Yeah. So my bag contained my headlamp, my headlight, my power bank, 2 cables for my watch and my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had a pack. I carried extra weight. I had a pack of chickies, the full pack of I think 6 of those, and another mango flavored.
I know that.
Sled, right? Yeah. I carried those were extra weights because I never opened the packets. I regret carrying them. Okay. Yeah, I've had a set of clothing, shorts. I've had shorts. I've had an extra T-shirt, and an extra pair of socks. Okay, and of course the underwear. And what else did I carry? Vaseline, a spray, antifreeze spray. Yeah, and my 500 ml bottle. Okay, that I required. And my electrolyte, 1 tube of electrolyte, and rehydrate, which I totally disliked. It's a rehydrate powder, and the flavor that I bought was blackcurrant, which I hated. So I threw away the remainder of it, and it stuck into the bottle virtually throughout the run. But that's basically it.
So
nothing.
500. So water was just 500 ml. You just carried 500.
I carried 500 ml bottle, which I knew. My morning, before I leave, I fill that up with my electrolyte. Okay, and I knew I'm going to get water on the way. I didn't stress about water. Water was not my concern. Food was not my concern. I know I will get it no matter what. If I don't get it at the point that I need it, I'm going to get it at the next point. I'll find it. There's no issue. I can stop at any home, any village, and I can ask them for a glass of water. I'm happy with that.
So I don't know whether you learned some digging up well for water kind of skill in South Africa. I don't know if but I would be quite concerned about not finding water for longer stretches. But I would probably, if I were you, I'd probably budget for about 2 liters of water or something on my backpack. But very interesting that you just took a 500 ml bottle and were confident.
Yes. Yeah. So what I've done during the run.
I'll keep it.
Yeah. Okay. Continue. Sorry.
No. So so during the run, you just had that 500 ml which you kept, I
kept refilling. Yeah. But I reached a stage when I realized that I was running into dry areas. Okay, or especially at night, I'm going to run into dry areas. Most of the shops I was checking, they're going to be closing at around 11. Okay, running on the highway, there was opportunities when I could get out of the highway and onto service roads and pick up water. That was fine. But there was areas where I knew it was dry spots, or I was running into dry spots because I saw the stretch. And whenever I had an opportunity, I pick up a liter. I started to pick up. I've always tried to keep 500 ml, but I started to pick up a liter of water. It obviously increased the weight, but I knew I had sufficient to take me to the next point. So whenever I've always tried to maintain that.
That
That
was
was actually mostly at night.
that was bottled water, like
Bottled water, yes.
bottled water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
My
you have
500 ml bottle, I brought that back home as well, because I always like to keep it. So I carried it all the way to Chittoor, and I brought that back home. That was my refill all the time. Even if I've had my normal bottle, I purchase the water, I'll refill into my 500 ml, because it's a nice, those Powerade of whatever bottle. So it's
And
quite
interestingly, you didn't do any such thing for food. No gels or anything. I didn't hear any.
No, I don't take gels. I don't take gels. I don't take gels at all.
The only food that from a Bukam perspective, it is sacrilegious not to talk about food. And I only heard chicky and that neutrino or whatever that.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, that's
right?
the one.
I remember that. I remember that from our ring road run very distinctly.
Yeah.
I am familiar with that too, Jay.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Right. So that was the only food that I heard. So you didn't worry about food. You thought even that will be like available.
Yeah. So as I said, you talked about the routine. I stuck to the routine. I've done my 10K on Thursday as well. My normal 10K, I've done my 10K. Easy 10K, but I've done the 10K. So the entire week, I still stuck to my 10Ks. Okay. No change. I did not want to change. I tried to, but to me, it was more a mind game. I wanted to make this run into a low-key event. I'm going to get out. I'm going to run. Whatever happens in the run will happen. But I'm going to run. I'm going to be guided. I know that I'm doing this for a purpose. I'm doing this for something that is special to me. It means a lot to me. There's no way that anything can go wrong. There's people watching over me over this. So I'm going. Put on my tackies, said to my family, good morning. Before I leave, 5 o'clock I was out of the home. And that was all the food I carried.
Amazing.
And I don't usually eat much when I run anyway. So yeah.
I mean, quite
by the way.
Yeah, it's quite antithesis to a lot of us. I think we all run to eat, and Jay is on the other side of the spectrum. Nevertheless, the one last question on the preparation part before we move into your actual experience doing the run. So did you plan for where you want to sleep and all of that? Did you have like a broad sense that I will cover 60 kilometers on day one? Any broad plans like that, or you just
the plan was not to sleep. That was my plan. The plan was not to sleep. I'm going to run throughout.
That's easy.
Until I reach Chittoor, I'm going to run.
Yeah,
that was the plan. Unfortunately, it didn't work as planned. But I didn't worry about it. I didn't even bother about how I'm going to get back. I said, when I get there, I'll worry about getting back.
It's easy. If you don't plan to sleep, you don't have to plan to where to worry about.
I have one question regarding the preparation.
Yeah.
If I may.
Jay,
so how many seconds did you spend thinking about safety and security for the run?
I'm born in South Africa. That doesn't that doesn't scare me at all. I've not thought about safety. It didn't worry me at all. I know India being one of the safest countries, I think, in the world. There is no issue with safety here. I've done, Satish and I have done the crazy run to Puttapati. There was never a minute of thought or intimidation. I've done midnight runs on my own in the area, late night runs in preparation for the 24-hour stadium runs. And I've never been, compromised. Like in Chaitanya, when we do the trail as well, when we were doing that and various other places in that area, we've never experienced any issues. So that didn't bother me one bit. That didn't bother me one bit. But I've had concerns during the run in terms of other factors, like, leopards and that type of thing.
Let's get to that. Let's get to that. How was your first day like? Let's just walk through like a day by day kind of a thing. So what happened on the first day? We will stick to probably what you experienced now that we have a background and all that. So Jay started running on Friday morning. So
Friday morning,
go from there. Yeah.
So my plan was to leave at 5 a.m., but I left a little after 5:07. Okay. And I chose the route running through Sarjapur Road, Batur, reaching Oscote Road through that area. And the reason why I've done that, it was a little longer route, but I was more familiar with it because I've done that route prior or previously when I've done the solo, my solo self-supported comrades, the 90Ks last year. Okay. So I've done that route, as well as I wanted to pass through Chaitanya so that I could meet with my V-Run running buddies. Okay. Sridhar, Naresh, and the entire Partha and the entire group, Raj. So yeah, so I was liaising with Naresh, and he said to me he'll join me in the morning for a short run. He will join in for a short run and see, because they were running Hyderabad. So yeah, so that was the route. I continued with that route. I was, Naresh and Raj joined us as well. And they suggested that I go to the back route in the sense of our trail and reach Oscote, the main road, the highway, okay, at the toll road. And from there, I knew it was a straight road, nothing to worry about. Highway and off roads, so that's basically it. Yeah. So I've covered for the day, I've covered in that first part of it as well, or if I may call it, is around 75 Ks. Okay. Until I took a long break, so that was 75 Ks that I've covered. I had to stop because my watch completely just died because of the battery. The battery went low, the watch stopped completely. So I was forced to stop to charge the battery. And, I stopped at one of the hotels, and the ladies were quite happy to allow me to charge the battery. So I've had a few cups of tea, and I spent some time there chatting and, awaiting that. And
this must have been past Kolar.
No, prior, just before Kolar. This was 75. Yeah, yes. This was around, in that area, around in that area. Yeah.
And so
I reached there at around 4:30 or so, 4:30 p.m., somewhere around there. Yeah.
So by which time, I'm assuming you would have found some 5-6 places where you refueled your, refilled your water, and we saw a picture of you smelling the food in some bakery,
Yeah. Yes. I was taking out with the youngster. I was having my tea as well at that point. So what I was doing, because of the weather conditions, were quite severe, okay, in terms of the heat. So I realized that I'm not going to, if I'm going to push myself to finish off with a decent time, I'm proving nothing to myself. I set out to accomplish one thing, and that is to end my run in Chittoor. The time was of no importance. I said to me, I will finish either on Saturday midday, Saturday afternoon, or even Sunday. My family knew, you will see me when you will see me. I will let you all know when I'm finished. That's basically it. But I'm going to Chittoor, and there was no other point that I was exiting from to come back home. It was Chittoor and only Chittoor. So I took away that pressure of a time constraint. I took that away from me as well. And I just said, I will run, I will walk, I will stop when I need to. And that's basically it. And continue running until I reach that point. So yes, I made regular stops, fueled up, 5-minute, 10-minute stops, having a cup of coffee or having a cup of tea, filling up my water, chatting a little bit, 1 or 2 photos. I didn't take too much of photos, 1 or 2 photos, and I kept going. And I just kept going.
Moodley. He ran from Bangalore to
So so how did you manage I mean, you mentioned briefly that it was very hot. Of course,
Yeah.
those I've driven on those highways, so and I keep looking, every road seems like a runnable road, except when there is no cover. And on that specifically, on that road specifically, there's no tree cover for a long until because the highway is new, and for a long distance there's really no cover. So how did you manage the heat, Jay? I mean, I'm sure you were conserving water, didn't have enough to pour over your head and things like that. So how did you manage the heat?
I've done that, to be honest, Manoj. I've washed my face twice, just twice in the entire run. I put in water, and I was afraid to soak up too much, because if you drop off too much of water and get back in the heat, it starts to burn. It starts to dehydrate you faster. That's my belief. Okay, it starts to dehydrate you faster, and I've avoided that. I just avoided that completely. I kept on every opportunity I had to sip. I sipped the water. I continued sipping onto water, but not pouring off water over.
See, that's the hot tip for anyone who's planning a ultra.
Yeah.
Don't pour water on your head when it is hot.
Yeah, because it sure burns you. I know. And the strange thing, I've carried an arm sleeve. Again, extra weight in my bag. I carried the arm sleeve. I only realized, I knew it was there, but I didn't use the arm sleeve at all. It stayed in my bag and it came back home. It's gone for washing. So I can't understand. I still don't understand why I didn't use it, but I burnt myself. Nice.
So no cap, no hood, no cap, nothing.
Normal cap, but nothing to cover. Nothing to cover the heat. And that's where I felt the most pain, and that was my neck, and it still burnt badly. My neck, I could feel, and that was a good indication for me to take a break. When my neck started to get really hot and burnt, I realized, okay, now I'm getting it's getting a bit too much.
So okay, so that was the first, like, 75 kilometers. Like, the time is 4:30. You're taking a longish break, which is what, like an hour, like 30 minutes.
Yeah, around about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay, an hour.
Because of my battery that needed to charge. Yeah.
Okay, so and you mentioned that you didn't plan to sleep, or did that plan change by then? Were you not thinking of getting some longish?
When I got back on the road, I ran for about 10 Ks. Okay, and I decided, I started to think about my all you guys, my friends, who said, you must eat, you gotta eat food, and I realized that if I'm going to continue and sustain myself, I gotta eat. I'm going to take advice. I'm not going to be Jay. I want to take advice. So yeah, so I stopped at around just after 10 Ks or so. I met these two youngsters on the highway. They were coming from a science exhibition, and they were walking, and I met them. We were chatting, we took some selfies, and they were engrossed in what I was doing. They jogged with me, and I asked them, where can I get a meal? So they said, yeah, we're coming to this town. Our town is next. You'll get something. So fortunately, it was on the roadside. Yeah. So I got the first night. I had a bowl of curd rice. Okay, curd rice, which I could not complete. I just had basically half of that, and I had a dry roti. That was all. Okay, I spent about 45 minutes to an hour with the owner. We were chatting about various things, family and things like that, and his intake of alcohol and how we quit. So I could relate to that because I was there as well. And we chatted, and I had to abruptly excuse myself because I wanted to get back in the running. But all that whilst I was eating, my biggest fear was, when I eat, and I experience this on a Sunday generally, when I have lunch after my routine shopping and all of that, after lunch is my bedtime. because you have a good meal. And I was worried about that because if
And by now it was what time was it? By now it was it 9?
it was around 9:30, 10 o'clock, yeah. And that is my normal sleep pattern. By 10 o'clock, 10:30, I need to go to bed. And I realized
Communicating was not an issue.
sorry.
Communicating English.
No, it wasn't an issue. No, I can communicate. I understand a little. I pick up some words and I could speak. And they were speaking, not fully in English, but we communicated well. I've had absolutely no problem throughout. Yeah. So I continued with that being the fear of sleep. Okay, and that fear became a reality because after probably about 2-3 hours, round about 1 o'clock, 1:15. I could feel that I was starting to doze off. Running on the highway, I realized this is not healthy.
How much? So roughly between, was that around Mudbagal by now, or was it the Karnataka border?
Yes, yeah. It was in that area. Yeah. So I started to feel dizzy. I was on the highway and I realized this could be detrimental because I could feel I was slipping away for a few seconds. Okay, I could feel a little bit of wobble. Okay, I was slipping away, and that,
And you run the opposite side of the traffic, or do you run?
I was running incoming traffic.
On the right side of the road.
Yeah. And that, by the way, I was stopped on I think the first day or the second day by a cyclist scooter, and he said to me, "You in the wrong side of the road. You're supposed to be on the other side. You're running into the traffic. You're supposed to run with them." And in his language, but I understood exactly what he was trying to say, and I said, "No, uncle, this is the way I want to see the cars coming to me, not behind me." And he just shook his head and he gave up and he continued, and I continued. So yeah. So around 1:30, I decided, okay, I'm getting out of the highway. I'm going to find a place to sleep. And during my time of running in India, I met a lot, and I walked short distance with some of the pilgrimage guys who go on pilgrimage to Sabrimala and all of that, right? And I've heard a lot that people sleep at the temple, at the roadside, and it's been in my mind that there's something that's a good adventure. I don't mind doing something like that. And I've stated that during this run that if I have to sleep, I'll sleep on the roadside. I'll sleep at a bus shelter, wherever, if I'm comfortable, because I know I'm not going to get accommodation. And that's exactly my first thought. I said, there's an opportunity for me to live this reality. Let me find a temple. That seems to be the safest place, and I'll find one. And I found a temple, didn't take me too long. I found the temple. I walked in, the gate was open. I looked around. There was one gentleman sleeping on the outside. He had his little blanket and he was all stuck up. I opened the gate. I walked into the temple. I saw two people sleeping inside the temple itself. And the gates were opened. The door was open to the temple, but I found it to be, not ethical and rude for me to walk in to the temple with my shoes on, as well as I could not take a risk of leaving my shoes on the outside of the temple because I still had another day to go. So I decided I'll sleep on the outside. That's fine. Let me find a place. I'll sit on the floor, up against the wall, sleep on the floor, whichever way. I've got nothing to cover myself, but I'm going to do this. And, fortunately, I saw a plastic chair that was lying on the side, assuming it was a security guard's chair. I grabbed it. I looked around. Nobody was around. I grabbed it. I put it under the shelter, and I tried to make myself comfortable, putting my leg against the railing or the wall itself. And that was absolutely uncomfortable because, those chairs are thin at the top and it hurts the neck. My neck was already burnt, as well. So I somehow struggled, and I probably would have had some power naps. Not a nap as such for a long period of time because I was kept wriggling and trying to find a comfort. So, in one of those power naps, probably I heard voices, a lady's voice. And there was this old auntie that came through, and she was standing right there, and she was going on and on. She was talking and
So are you now in your dream, or are you?
that was a concern. That's what my concern. Oh, where's this voice came? It wasn't in the dream. Auntie was standing right there next to me, right, just outside of the shelter where I was relaxing. And she was going on, and I said, "Oh, okay, now I don't know what I've done." So where's this auntie came, because she wasn't around. There was nobody around.
Did
And
you pinch
it's like
yourself?
2 o'clock. Yeah, it was like about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I continued, and I said, namaskara, and I started to talk to her a little bit. She took a seat, she sat, and she laid out 2 small little cups, and she's pouring coffee. She wants to pour me coffee, and I said, wow, look at this. And I, in that sleepy mode, as well as in my mind, knowing that if I'm going to have coffee now, I may not sleep because of the caffeine. So I refused. I said, Auntie, I don't want coffee. No, she said, no, have coffee. I said, no, I don't. She understood me. I understood her. How we did that? She talked in Telugu probably. I talked in English. We understood each other. She then did not pour the coffee for me. Okay. And I still sat there and I still tried to sleep. So she had a coffee and, she was talking and whatever. And so I was trying to doze off again. She started to then unpack her trolley. She's got a little, trolley up front. At that point I was. And of course she was selling her wares. I realized later that she's a businesswoman, having toys and selling to obviously people, congregations that's coming to the temple. And she made sure that she create quite a fuss in the sense of the noise, taking that off, shaking up the plastic and folding it up and things like that.
She's
So
not
that
used to an audience. She's not used to an audience. When she sees one, she wants to make sure she entertains them.
Yeah. So, that pretty much disturbed me. I could not sleep, and I'm thinking in my mind, Auntie, I gotta run, I gotta go. You're disturbing me, So as that was going on, I noticed on my left, the shop next door, there was a bench, right? And then I said, okay, there's a good idea. I need to leave this auntie. I need to go to the bench. Maybe that will give me a better sleep, And so I got up. I left my bag still at that side, and I went up to the bench. And immediately when I went to the bench, that's the only time I think I realized that I've taken that auntie's chair, because she grabbed the chair immediately and she relaxed. So at that point only I realized, oh, I'm sorry, auntie. And she must be saying, oh, you took the chair, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I went onto the bench, and I said, okay, this is the better, because I'll be lying down. It will help my back as well, and my legs will be stretched out. And again, in that sleepy mood, and I've also got poor eyesight, I didn't realize that it was on a slight slope, and it was very rickety. So I just went immediately and I laid on it, and I came tumbling. The bench was virtually on top of me. I was on the floor because it completely fell off. Okay. And, again, at that point, as I wrote it down, that auntie must have been laughing when she heard the sound, because she says, there's your punishment. You took my chair, you fall, So, yeah. So I got up. I realized, okay, the slope was there. The bench was very shaky. I settled it in a much more easier area, more flat, straightened it up, and I lay back on. I found it a little bit more comfortable, okay, because it was now flat. I positioned myself well, and even though I could hear the buzzing of the mosquitoes, and I know they're going to feast on me, it didn't matter. I needed sleep. I needed to catch up sleep, because I know I've got mileage to cover in the morning, and I need to sleep. I have to force myself to sleep, and that's it. I probably slept a deep sleep for probably over an hour and a half. I got up in sufficient sleep, during that period. Yeah. And again, I was up, ready. The auntie was all set with a chair sitting up front. I saw a coffee shop across the road, and I went, I had my coffee. I had 2 cups of coffee. I ordered a coffee for auntie, and also left a cup of coffee in a sense. I paid for a cup of coffee for her, and I said to the guy, please send the coffee later for auntie as well. I came and said her goodbye, and at around 4:10, I started to get back on my way.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
that
Wow.
was the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived off two dreams there. I was running to Chittoor and I slept in the temple overnight. So
Amazing. So reminds me of one of these exchanges when I did that cycle, ride to Chennai. I think it was somewhere near Vaniambadi or a little further from there, I think. Again, a chai shop. I went there and told them that, so casually, they look at you, you're all wearing all kinds of funny clothing, and then you came on a cycle. So he was curious. So he asked me where I came from, and I told him Bangalore. He just couldn't believe me. So he stepped out of his shop, so he could come and check me out from head to toe, and then look at my cycle to make sure that I wasn't lying, and this was really a story that he could just tell to his other patrons, in the morning. So yeah, but some of these experiences are amazing, especially when you least expect them.
correct.
And it must have been a godsend, on another day when when you had like this coffee in the middle of the night, if that's what you're looking for. But
Yes. Unfortunately, I regretted not having the coffee. It was rude of me not to accept the coffee. I regretted thereafter. It was playing in my mind. But unfortunately, I just, So basically,
So Jay is going to get ideas now. One day he'll say, I have to go and have that coffee. Right. So he'll get up and he'll run, the 80 kilometers. He'll wait for that auntie, have coffee, and then run back. So let's wait for that. That's for another day. But tell us now about day two, Jay.
Yeah. So I commenced. I would have covered. I took an opportunity because it was much cooler. It actually got cold during that morning, and with it being cooler, I decided I'm going to push as much as I can. I was feeling good. My legs were tight, but it was not painful as such where I could not run. So I pushed on a little, more running than walking because I was feeling fresh. And I think I covered probably around 14 kilometers. For that morning, okay, before my first break. Then I took my first break. That was around probably 6:10, 6:15, round about there. Around just over 2 hours, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 15 minutes that I ran. Okay, continues. I felt good. I felt happy, and I needed to have more coffee. I needed to take a break because I'm running for too long, and I needed to take a break. And I found the shop. I stopped, chatted to the guys, had my coffee, and I saw him preparing fresh chili feathers, the South Indian type, and I love that. So immediately the chili feather, the chili feathers.
Vada. Oh God,
Not the normal ones that we eat here, but
at 7 in the morning.
Yeah. At
Amazing.
6.
I like this guy.
Chili bhajis. Chili bhajis.
Chili bhaji at 7 in the
the
morning.
bhajis. Yeah. So that's a South African favorite for prayer mainly. But I've experienced that here and I love that. So at around about 6:15, 6:30, I've had 3 of that. That was my breakfast.
3 bhajis. Okay. That's like your annual quota.
Yeah. That was absolutely. It was still hot. It was fresh, served in newspaper. On the small piece of newspaper. I thoroughly enjoyed. Looked at the oil, lots of oil, tasty. I'm good. I'm good. I've had my fair share for the day. And I enjoyed that. I had about 2 or 3 cups of coffee probably, and I got going again.
So just to pause. So I just want to understand your a little bit of body scan at this point, right? So you've done about say 100 kilometers by now, isn't it?
Yes.
So was there any discomfort? Were you feeling, a lot of fatigue, less fatigue, cramping? And it was like almost 24 hours on your feet. So what is that like? I mean, was it all hunky dory or?
I didn't feel any cramp. Yes, my calves were a little tight. Okay, my shoulders were taking a little bit of strain, more rubbing. The annals were rubbing against, right? The bag itself. Yeah. upper body, as I said, I don't do any weights. I want to do weights, but I managed that. I've never had any pains in the shoulder, and my body was perfect. My back, the problem that I've experienced prior to the run never showed up. Nothing, absolutely no sign of pain. So I was very comfortable in terms of going forward. I was very comfortable. I know I picked up a blister, okay? It's every now and then I could feel that little pain, but my attitude was, if I pay attention to it, then I'm going to be in trouble, because I need to give it constant attention. I've ignored it completely. That pain will go away. It was on the side of my heel, okay? So every now and then it poked me a little. It hurt me a little. I just continued. I'll slow down, I'll walk, and I'll let that pass, okay? Other than that, I've experienced absolutely no problem. My legs were fine. I felt good on my leg. There was no pain. There was no cramping. There was no severe knee issues. Nothing of that sort.
So the trick is the chili bhaji, chili bonda.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Now we got two hot tips, right? For those of you who missed the first one, you missed it. That's it. I mean, we're not sharing that again. So at like now we're like at 7, 8 in the morning. So how did the day 2 pan out? So from chili bhaji onwards.
I continued, and from around 7 o'clock, but by around 10 o'clock, it started to get extremely hot. I could feel that it was getting extremely hot, and it was starting to burn. And at that point, my mind started to play games with me. I was thinking about the recent, deaths of athletes, fitness freaks, where they've had these sudden attacks. And I started to wonder, okay, now this is getting a bit serious. I'm not going to push myself. I'm just going to start taking it easy. And, realizing that with that condition, it could be detrimental. So I started to do more frequent stops and, trying to get more onto the service road to pick up some shade. Okay. But by around 1 o'clock, I covered at least around 20 Ks, 21 kilometers. It's still run easy, slow pace, in around 5 hours, 5 hours or so. Okay. Didn't matter. Still, I was covering that pace. I was moving forward. I was happy with that. And by around midday, 1 o'clock, it got extremely hot. It was just unbearable.
Were these breaks more like walking breaks, or did you actually stop and sit and by the side of the road, or in a shade?
I tended to stop more at hotels or shops, okay, where I could then refuel in terms of filling up my water. I could get a chair to relax instead of sitting on the side of the road. Okay, I could have my coffee or tea and pick up my packet of chips. I've had, 4 packets of chips that I've spoiled myself in the entire run. I love all those stuffs, those snacks. So, and have conversations. Sitting on the side of the road all along, I'm running for so long. I needed to have some conversation, and that helped me, as well as try to steal some power from them to charge up my phone and power bank. And
I thought steal power from them to charge yourself and all of that. You gave them some power and took some
power. Yeah. So that helped a lot, So, but at this point,
your nutrition was a lot of fat and sugar and water.
Water, yeah. Sugar, I still try to keep that mild. I always think light sugar, but light sugar is still about 3 or 4 teaspoons. That's light sugar, I think. I try to always say to them, keep it mild, but or light, but still, it's heavy sugar. But that's basically what I've had. I've had Coke in between. I sipped on Coke in between. I bought Coke. I've had Coke in between the runs, and I was fine. I felt at points a little dehydrated. But I was not in a stage where I could not move or felt.
So at no point in time you had the urge to use the restroom?
I did. I continuously did that because I wanted to also test my hydration, whether I'm dehydrating, and I continuously did that, and I monitored that. I tried to monitor that as much as I could. Running alone, running in a service road, restrooms were abundance, so I made use of the areas wherever I could, but I made sure that, I was constantly checking to make sure that I was fine. But even though I drank a lot of water, I drank a lot of liquids, I still, could see that I was not fully hydrated. The urine showed that I was not fully hydrated. But then again, with the weather conditions, I don't think I could do any better. I don't think I could do any better. My strategy was to walk at the start of every kilometer, and that's the strategy I started to use more often. Okay, so at the start of every kilometer, I'll walk for at least a short distance, 50 meters, whatever, right? I'll walk a little, and then I'll pick up a jog, and I'll run as far as I can, and then I'll walk, and I continue doing that. So towards the latter part of the kilometer, I tended to run it full. Okay, at least 300-400 meters, I'll run it full to, we all governed by government. Okay, to ensure that we keep the time well, your lap, that particular split.
I guess even to beat some amount of boredom, I think getting into some kind of a cadence like that really works. I've seen those in those 24-hour runs and things like that. One of the advice that I got from Naveen long time back when I started was to fall into some kind of a pattern. Right? Whatever that pattern works is for you. This is really, really fantastic. So, and you mentioned now by 1 o'clock it's getting really hot. Is that when you took another long?
I took another break. Yeah, I took another break. I found this shop really quite nice area of the highway as well. I saw two beautiful laid out slabs, concrete slabs, and I thought this is going to make a good bed, So I immediately got myself comfortable.
When have we got when have folks on this call got excited by seeing a stone bench?
Yeah. So that gave me some hope. I know I'm going to have a good sleep. Okay. I got down to charging I went up to the shop owner to ask him if I could charge my watch and my power bank and my mobile. And he's obviously, he said there was no current available. So I said, I've had some life in my power bank. I plugged in. I left that at the side of my feet. I put on my bag at the back of my head. As much as it was uncomfortable, it was still more comfortable than the night before. Okay. And there were a few uncles sitting in there. So they were keen on what I was doing and they were trying to communicate. And we somehow managed, and I was explaining to them in English. And I think after a while, they realized that I just wanted to sleep. Okay. So they got up and they left. And the rest is history. I probably had solid hour sleep. Nice. No disturbance. Even the shop owner didn't even come and disturb me. My mobile and all that was lying on the side of at the foot. Didn't bother me that anyone's going to steal it. Nothing of that concern. Nothing concerned me. I wanted to sleep, and I've had that sleep. And I set my alarm in all instances the night before as well, or that morning. I set an alarm so that I don't, I'm not this kind of a power napper where I can sleep for 10 minutes and be.
You didn't want to wake up on Sunday.
Yeah. If I want to sleep, I must sleep. Nobody must disturb me. That Sunday afternoon nap is the same. 2 hour, 3 hour, I must be comfortable. So I set up my alarm, and I usually will have the phone on my chest so that it's directly on me. It's going to sound on me, but I never really waited for the alarm. I was always up, prior to that because of the mind, the concern. Am I going to oversleep? So I kept on getting up and checking time and, realizing that it was still hot.
It didn't worry you, it didn't worry you that you may probably wake up on Sunday and then argue with that shopkeeper that it is Saturday and then,
No, I didn't. Yeah. No, I didn't. I knew somebody's going to disturb me.
With your half English and his half, I don't know, by now Tamil or Palamnir, no? By around, are you in Palamnir and
Palamnir, I think that's where the extremely hot place is. Yeah. That's where I think that's one of, and I remember the gentleman telling me en route that, I was complaining about the heat. I can't remember exactly, but he said to me, sir, as you go to another town, and he mentioned the name, but I didn't remember it. He says there it's unbearable, And I said to myself, how bad can it be from what I'm here at this point? How can it change so much?
Yeah.
And only when I got there, I realized, okay, this gentleman was talking about probably this town, because that was the hottest area that I've experienced.
Which was, yeah, you have the stretch which goes through those rocks. The highway actually is
Correct.
carved out through the rocks. And
Yes.
then you hit a little bit of forest, a reserve
Yes.
forest kind of an area.
Correct.
With a
Yes,
little bit
yes.
of ghats and all that, right?
The guts, yeah, down that, yes.
So you woke up, and then, when you started running, say evening-ish, that is when you hit this hottest
Yes.
stretch. Was that right?
Yeah, that's good, yeah. So when I got up, I still relaxed a bit, because I still realized that it was extremely hot, and I still did not want to take any chances. But realizing that it was, time was really going by, and my final point is not too far away.
Which was how many kilometers by now? Was it?
I was around, I would think around 60, 70 Ks away. I wasn't too far off. So I was right within reach, but I'm wasting my time sitting on this concrete bench and struggling, and I have to get out. Whichever way, even though it's hot, I will walk it and I will continue. And
still thinking about not taking a break for the night?
Not, yeah. The night break was not, the night break was not in my mind.
So did it get better? I mean, you said it got worse after a point in terms of the heat.
Yeah, but as I went on, it started to cool down. It was getting afternoon, late, so it started to cool down a bit.
You mentioned you worried about the leopards and all of that. Was it around this area, or was it
going down that ghat? I think that area, and there's various other areas where I was on the service road. On the service road, I was the only person, not even a vehicle, absolutely dark. Okay,
wow.
just my headlamp, which again I need to change the battery, because I realized I forgot to change the battery. It wasn't as bright as it's supposed to be. So it was just at the point, at that point, just in front of me. So yeah, so every sound I hear, I was worried. I started why the leopards came in my mind. I don't understand, but that was the big concern. Is there could be something that just can jump out of the bush and I'm gone. Who's gonna, even if I scream, I'm gone. That type of thing. Imagine running, and getting attacked by a leopard and being taken away, and nobody knows where I am. So that was one of my concerns. Going down the windy ghat road, there were warnings of elephants crossing. Okay, so that's also because it's reserves. There was warnings there. I saw some warning signs, and again that became a concern. And again, also always the concern is snakes, because you're running in dark areas. You're running through felt on one side on the service road. Okay, and you're bound to have snakes coming across, and you stamp on one and you're over. So that was also a concern.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me about snakes and elephants, I would have given you a tip before you left. If you have snakes, if you have elephants chase you, then you got to run in a zigzag manner. And if you have snakes chase you, you have to run straight.
Straight. Oh, is it okay?
It's simple, Jay. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically, I never feared human. Human was not my fear. So in terms of intimidation.
So now it's getting dark. You're in this ghat kind of foresty area with more vegetation and stuff like that. Yeah. Again, not too many people on the road, just the highway traffic kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah.
So did you want to stop? I mean, had you eaten enough? How was, by now about 130, 140 kilometers in?
Yes.
Everything was okay, or was there any?
Yeah, I haven't eaten during the lunch. I missed this out during my lunch after my morning snack. I stopped probably after about 2 or 3 hours, and I had a masala dosa. Okay, masala dosa, and that was it. That was the last meal that I've had. For the Saturday. So at probably around 12 o'clock, 12ish or so, I've had that masala dosa. 11, 12 o'clock, and basically the last meal that I had. So, I just continued. I've had the chips. I've had a packet of chips or 2 packets of chips in my bag. Whenever I needed, bored, not hunger, but boredom. I open a packet of chips during my walk. It's a handful. It's a small 5 rupee packet chips. Okay, so it's just like a one mouthful, and I've enjoyed that.
And no looking for a temple on this stretch or anything, right? Because it
No,
was
not at all. No. I did not. The sleep never came into my mind because I knew I was within reach to finish. I need to finish. I was way beyond past the finish time. I needed to finish. Okay, so sleep was not a concern. I knew I was heading towards my family home, and but there came a point when I realized that I'm still 22 kilometers away as such. Right, I reached that point when I saw the signboard 22 kilometers away, and I'm not going to do this within good time because
One question, Jay. Were they aware that you are coming, or were they expecting
They
you?
were aware. Yeah, one of my family members were aware that I was coming. But out of courtesy, I decided that I'm going to give him a call and advise him that I'm going to be late, so don't wait up for me. I'll see you in the morning. So I decided I'm going to do that. And again, that was another strategy that I used for myself to cut off my pressure on time completion, because I've already stated or settled that whichever way I'm going to complete it tonight, tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, it's going to be done in one go this time. And I took that pressure off, where I did not want my family to be calling me, where are you? Are you going to come in now? And then I'm going to start to rush. And at that point, I was in no mood to really run much. I was walking. The 22.
So this 22 kilometer to go kind of milestone, right? At what time was this? Was it still?
That was. It took me a long time, but that was 22 kilometer at around
Midnight,
9 o'clock, I think. Yeah.
9 o'clock. Okay.
Round about there. Yeah. 9 o'clock. I would think around there, because I remember calling Ruchir.
Amazing.
I remember calling Ruchir. That was quite early. Yeah. Advising him. I just told him just a short before. I told him
this is Saturday night, 9 p.m.
Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night.
Fantastic. Amazing stuff.
Saturday night.
And this last 22 kilometers, was that more civilized? Was there more civilization?
It was on highway. Again, it was on highway. But, I started to get frustrated because I saw the 22 kilometer sign. Okay. And I thought that I'd walked or ran a long distance. And my next signboard came up, showed 18 kilometer. And now this is not possible. I know I've been on the road for a long time. How come it's just, these few kilometers? And I at that point, when I came to around the 18 kilometer, when I saw that, I basically switched off. To a certain extent, I switched off. I got weak, and I allowed myself to get frustrated. And, I started to blame, that guys who did that signage. I'd like to invite him to walk. He needs to run with me because, and I went on and on with myself. And I decided at that point, I'm going to walk. I'm not running. I'm just going to walk. I'm not far away. I will do this. If I walk, no time constraints. And I started to walk. The next signboard, 15 kilometer, even more frustrating, because you 15 kilometer, but I later realized that I was walking, very little running, and I spent more time than distance. I later realized that it was my fault. I frustrated myself for no reason at all. And, the frustration grew even deeper. My Garmin watch battery completely failed, switched off totally. Okay. My power bank was dead because I was, in the area that I was going, I could not recharge. Okay. My mobile had very few minutes left in terms of charge.
Wow.
So I was starting to fail,
Headlamp?
Headlamp was fine. Headlamp I knew will take me. Headlamp will somehow carry me. The light was dim, but it will take me.
And now about 11 o'clock, 11 p.m., close to midnight-ish.
Yeah. I was struggling there. So, and at that point, when you're giving up, coming up to that 7 kilometer, I had actually around 8 kilometers to go, right?
Wow.
When my battery collapsed. Okay, yeah, around about 7 kilometers to go, and my battery gave up on my Garmin. And at that point, everything goes. Your mind you're sleepy, you're hungry. I was hungry. Okay. Everything started to come. That blister started to get fierce. That blister started to punish me. The pain was starting to get unbearable.
It's such a mind game, isn't it?
Exactly. My quad started to ache. My head, because I've had the headband, I've had the
impression.
light. My head started to. I could start to feel my head started to pain. Everything started to show. My toe, I've lost nails over the run and also some other silly runs, and that started to ache. And I'm saying, look at this mind game. I gave myself away. I'm allowing myself to be beaten in this game because I've not. I know the pain would have been there, but I've ignored it, and now it all started to come back. And what do? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue. And I just pushed on slowly. And again, I said to myself, I'm not going to give any of this attention. If I give it attention, it's gone. I'm going to fail this. So I'm just too close to where I have to be. Let me continue. And I just persevered. I took a little deviation from the route because everyone said to me, just continue straight on the highway, you'll come to Chittoor. And only when I completed, that's like, I think yesterday I realized that I continued. I did what they told me to do, but I should not have continued straight on the highway. I should have branched off or continued on the straight route, but took a diversion. Okay. I picked that up, but I found my way into Chittoor.
The bypass, isn't it?
The bypass, yeah. So I eventually got there. And, as I got into Chittoor, my granddad, I think he was waiting for me. And
what time was this?
This was around 1 o'clock. Yeah, around 1:30. Yeah. And I received the showers of blessing. For initially, it was the showers of blessing, light rain, and thereafter storm. It was a major storm. It was pelting. Rain was pelting. And I was already wet. I continued walking. I reached my point where I said, okay, there's Chittoor. I'm in Chittoor. And then decided, okay, do I need to continue walking and being soaked like this? I was worried about all my stuffs in my bag, my mobile phone, my watch, and all of that is going to get soaked. And I sought shelter, and that's when I said, right, that's it. I'm over with this. I'm in, virtually in the town, and I'll somehow get myself to a point, So I lied to a very close friend during the run, and I said to him the other day, and that was Ruchir. Ruchir and Arun, Naresh, and Satish were checking, on my progress. And Ruchir, I remember he called me and he asked me, it was late, so he was worried. And are you all right? Are you okay with accommodation? Have you booked your accommodation? And I said, yeah, that's all sorted out. Don't worry. Everything's sorted out. There was nothing booked because I just canceled with my cousin. That's where I was supposed to stay. There was nothing booked. And again, I said to myself, when I'm in town, the bus stand is an area where there will always be hotels. I will get myself to the bus stand. When I get to myself to the bus stand, I'll find something. If there's no accommodation, what do? I'm only going to have a few hours and I'll get to my family and I'll settle myself down. So, I eventually got a lift to the bus stand. And first hotel I saw without any hesitation, I got in, and yeah, that's basically the end of.
So how was the next day? I mean, did it take? I know you did a run, with the folks from Bukam after you came back, but was the next day a lot of stiffness and soreness and all of that, or was it another morning?
Yeah, I got up fine. The pain was there. I was a little stiff, My legs were stiff. And I walked down, I think about 3 or 4 flights of stairs. I was on the 3rd floor or so, okay? And I walked down. I wanted to test myself. Am I able to walk? Without holding any of the side step, not one step at a time, and I stepped. The first 2 or 3 steps was 1 step at a time, like a, and thereafter I stepped each step. And when I got down, and I said, okay, fine, I'm okay. My regret at that point was I could have done this 10K and finished it off. That was my regret. I could have done my 10K for the day. My routine would have been done. And it was too late.
But where did you go? You already reached Chittoor.
Yeah.
You run out of road, so you can't run anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
But technically, it was a Sunday morning, right? So 2 o'clock was Sunday morning. So you had your run.
Yes. Yeah. I knew I had the run in, but still, it was not. It was part of the other run. I needed to still do
part of the other run, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, it was part of the other run, but I still needed to do my normal run. So yeah, I contacted my family. I contacted my cousin Shanmugam, and I said to him, "I'm going for breakfast. Are you going to fetch me, or should I come?" It was just about 2.5-3 kilometers away from the hotel. Which was a good excuse for me to walk to his house. I'll have 3 kilometers in recorded. So I thought I'll take an easy walk to his house, but he decided, no, Jay, I'll come and fetch you. So I went, had my favorite masala dosa again, which is generally my favorite stuff. And he came in and we chatted a little, and we went straight to the family home thereafter.
Yeah. So I knew about the J. I didn't know about that. The crazy part is, it's something that I kind of figured out today. If if you finished a run at 2 a.m. and then you still woke up in the morning, wanted to do your 10K, it's as crazy.
Yeah, but I still did my run. I completed my rituals with the family in Chittoor. I met with the family. I went to my granddad's house. I spent some time there, had some coffee with the people, took out photos, visited some of the family members. I was with one of my very close relatives to my granddad, and he took me to the temple because I needed to completely, finish the ritual by paying homage and taking off my hair. Okay, so I went to the Vinayagar temple. I can't remember the name fully now, but and we spent quite some time there. We had lunch. I did the complete ritual. I took off my hair and paid homage in the manner that I wanted to. And to my dad, to my grandfather, to my granny, and to all, my uncles, aunties, and all those that we have lost over the short period of time that I've not been with whilst I was in India. I, dedicated this run to them. Wow. So yeah, from there, bus back to Chittoor, straight to the bus stand. Was desperate because the buses were all full, but managed to make some friends who, I saw that he was in the bus, and he screamed to me, jump in, and I jumped in. And the funny part is, I jumped into that bus with not a single rupee in my pocket, because the money that I carried, I spent already. Okay, I've had no money, no cash, and the first thing I asked the bus conductor, do you take Google Pay? And he says, sir, the machine broken. I said, okay, fine. I'll figure out a way. I don't want to tell him anything else. I'll figure out a way. And I chatted. I made some friends, some youngsters were there. I made some friends with him, chit-chatted. And I said, sir, I'm in a bit of a problem. I don't have cash. If I pay you the fee, would you be able to pay it? No, absolutely no problem. And yeah, that's basically it.
I thought you'll choose the other Jai solution, which was get out the bus and
run. Yeah. So
maybe I don't have money, but I have to go 200 kilometers. Yeah, okay. Jai Shri Ram.
Yeah. So the conductor, I probably we already took off, and a few kilometers down the line, he comes up to me and he tells me, sir, please, the bus is not going to your stop. I think it was I told him Koramangala, Bangalore, Koramangala. He says he's not going anywhere there. The bus is only one stop, and that's a tin factory. And I've had absolutely no idea where tin factory was. All I asked him was, sir, is that in Bangalore? He said, yes. I said, thank you. I'm happy. I'll find my way from there. You know, so yeah.
Amazing.
Got
Yeah.
to tin
So,
yeah.
so I was curious to know, Jay, why were you not timing yourself? Typically, don't you do that?
Timing?
Basically, this time around, you decided you're not going to worry about how much time you will take to reach Chittoor.
Yes.
Do you do that often, all the time, or this is the
Not.
first time you're doing it?
No, this specific run was not. I was running solo. Number one, I knew the challenges that I'm going to experience. Okay, and my purpose, the bigger purpose, was to reach Chittoor, to pay homage to my granddad. Time was not an issue. I've already made a decision prior to me leaving, when I did my prayer in the morning, that no matter how long it takes me, even if it goes right into Sunday or Monday, that would be it. But I will reach Chittoor. That was my point.
Oh, okay. And
I
we
was timing
saw-
myself. I've had my
Right.
time. I've had my garment working, but I was not, basically running or at a specific time that I needed to be there. You know, I took that
Right.
off, and it also eliminated the stress factor for me. You know, if you put a time constraint and I need to be there within a certain period of time, I knew that I will face injuries because I'm going to be conscious of the time and I'm going to be pushing myself. And in that conditions and the distance, I don't think that would have been a sensible thing for me to do. Arun will be smiling. Sensible, Arun.
So interesting. And the other thing was, I was curious to know about your learnings through all of this. What did you learn, and what did you learn about yourself?
Oh, patience. You got to have patience. If you want to accomplish something, you got to have patience. You can't give up at the first instance. You can't give up if you didn't reach your challenge. If you didn't reach the place that if you didn't meet your destination, basically, in this instance. But basically, patience, forgiveness, and just go. You know, it's a matter of setting up a challenge and meeting with it. That's what I've basically learned. Yeah.
Don't plan too much.
Don't plan. Oh, of course. Planning is always. Sridhar knows that. Satish knows that as well. Satish knows that very well. My sense of planning is always minimal, keeping it simple, and getting out and doing the job. If your mind is focused and if you know what you want to achieve at the end of it, I think go out and do it. If you fail, get back again, improve on that and get back again, and that's the way I carried myself out.
Jay, I have a question, Jay. Jay, but will you please not answer, and anyone else on the panel, we can test if they're listening or not. So Jay comes to Tin Factory at what time?
I was there at around 10, around.
So Jay reaches Tin Factory, he somehow gets to Koramangala after 48 hours. What is the first thing Jay does after getting to Koramangala? Can somebody please guess? Jay, don't answer. He's come back home, it's 10 p.m. He has no money, he's eaten 2 meals, whatever. What is the first thing he does reaching Koramangala at 10:30 p.m.?
He went for a run.
Wow. He had to finish his run before midnight.
Yeah, that was something that I don't know. My family found that crazy, I think. I walked in, I dropped my backpack, I went straight to the PowerPoint, I put my phone on charge, and I said, I'll see you all just now. And I was with the same running outfit. Well, of course, the new outfit that I was wearing for the Sunday. I've had my tackies on. There was no changing necessary. There was nothing to change. Okay. I put on another watch, which I've had. I knew that battery was okay, and I went out. And I ran and I walked and I ran and I walked in my area in first block. Lots of slopes, lots of uphill, and I completed 5K. I had to stop because it was late and I was hungry. I spotted the chicken, my favorite chicken. Before I left, I asked them what was cooked, and they said chicken curry. I said, okay, I'll see you all back just now. And so that was in my mind as well, because Monday I fast. On a Monday I fast. Okay, so I needed to eat.
He's got challenges in life.
So what was
serious.
Melanie's reaction to all this, Jay?
They have not shown it as yet.
They've kept it reserved for some future.
Maybe another run, maybe the Puttapati run. But they
So,
have not.
Jay,
Not even a
this
cold
was your
snap?
longest run, or you've done longer than this before?
This was my longest. This was my
This was
longest.
your longest
This was my
Okay.
longest, and this was my longest solo run as well.
So not even a
What
cold
distance was
snap?
it finally?
Sorry.
What distance was it finally?
I reached 200Ks.
Wow.
Definitely, it was just a little, maybe a kilometer over 200, but I know 200 I touched. In that last 7-8 kilometer loop or that last part, I know I've reached 200 because I've done a Google Map search as well from the point that I've ended to when my watch gave up to where I ended in Chittoor. It was around at least around 7+ Ks. So I would have reached 200, just over 200. Nothing major, but just around 200. Definitely.
One last question from my side. Would you have done anything differently now with this experience?
So,
For example, would you have slept in a more planned fashion? Would you have eaten more? Anything that you have done differently, Jay? If you were to do it again,
I would have done more practice runs during the night to eliminate the sleep, because I think if I could have done this without any sleep, like the first time that Satish and I done Puttapati, it would have been something that I would have, it would have been good. Let's put it that way. That's one of it. When we did the stadium run as well, the 24-hour stadium runs, I was doing runs at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning to create that sleep pattern. And I got lazy during this one. I'd never done an afternoon run, many afternoon runs. I didn't do a night run. I attempted at home and said to my family, tonight, I'm not sleeping. I'm just going to sit and relax, and I'm not going to sleep. But by 11 o'clock, I could not manage. I go to bed. And that was my biggest fear. And I think there's certain things like food. Okay, if you can overcome a fast, your mind builds up. You're building up your mind. If you can overcome hunger. I was a smoker. I was a 40-a-day smoker, and to quit smoking was one of my biggest challenges. And I done that. And from that point, I realized that there's nothing bigger a bigger challenge that we can't overcome, because smoking is the major challenge to it, and I've done that successfully. So
any questions thanks for being
So Jay, what was your longest distance you ran prior to this 200 kilometer?
I've done 100 kilometer. I've done 160. That is from the Puttapati run. Yeah, we do the Satish and I do. This is coming up to our third run now in December, where we run from Bangalore to Whitefield to Puttapati, and the next year from Puttapati to Bangalore. So this year we're planning to go up. We've got some ideas coming back down, but We'll talk about that as we go on.
And
I think I've
did
got
you
family
do-
online. Huh?
And
Sorry.
did you do some exercises in between the run? Like
No.
nothing.
No, not minimal stretching. I even during my normal runs now, because of the time, I don't stretch. I don't spend time, a lot of time stretching, cooling down, warming up. I know Manoj doesn't like warming up as well. He's he advocated that, and I do. I think about that. I don't do warming up. I walk from the point of my home, probably around under 200 meters, and that's my daily point to start running. So minimal stretching, minimal cool down. It has not troubled me, and I'm not going to trouble it. The muscles that didn't trouble me, I'm not going to trouble it. I'm going to run until it troubles me, and then I'll decide what to do with it from that point.
And
So-
you don't do exercise in routine also, like any yoga or HIIT or anything, nothing.
Not at all.
You
No
don't do
yoga,
any strength training or
no strength training, no gym. I've not been into gym. I don't have a coach. I run. Yeah, I run would feel, if I feel like walking, I'll walk. If I feel like running, I have to run. If I want to stop, I'll stop and I'll continue running again. To date, it has not affected me. I think I've got it in my mind that I will run until I cannot run any longer. And at that point, I'll decide whether I'm going to have whiskey from there on. But for now, I'm going to run. So,
And I think, Jay, you got your certification as a football coach as well, right? In between all this.
yeah. Recently, I went for some coaching workshop, and I was a coach in my country in South Africa. I was very passionate about football from a very young age, and it was one of my dreams to achieve my coaching license in football. And yeah, I've received that.
Maybe next time, I think to get your thing going, you should dribble a football from here to Chittoor, I think. Some kind of a Guinness record, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. That would be something interesting.
We'll put a goalpost in Bangalore and one in Chittoor. Score.
Wow.
Yeah, basically, I've maintained that, and I've just wrote that down. Anything is possible if we don't give up. I could have given up at any point, or any athlete for that matter. We can give up at any point that we think we can't go any further. But I've always believed, and I've always mentioned to many people, I meet a lot of runners in Agra as well, newcomers to running. And I always say to them, there will be pain. You must experience pain in whatever you do. But you have to go a little beyond that point to understand yourself, whether that pain is going to be there continuously, or is going to end. Because the pain will have to end sometime or the other, whichever way. If the pain is still there, go and attend to it. If it's gone, it's gone. Continue, push beyond that barrier, and I say this to regularly, and I think my family is online as well, my sister more especially. Don't do the same thing every day and expect a different result tomorrow. You're not going to get that result. You're never going to get that result. So that's, the way I try to be simple. I try to live simple and do the simple things. I don't read too much into the science of running. I don't listen too much into various videos and read too much into how I should be running. What works for me, I utilize it. I listen. The little that I read, I'll take a little that I believe that will help me, but I'll keep going. At my age, I don't want to be too fast, maybe. I want to be fast, yes, but I want to run. I want to stay fit and I want to run. And I think I'm enjoying that now more than anything else.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jay, for showing us, that we all need to dare to dream. I think that's the most important thing. I think more than anything, more than any of the challenges, I think there's a very underlying getting back to your roots kind of a sentiment attached to it, which I think is, we always tend to see the why part of it, right? I mean, once you sort that out, I think the rest of it, simply falls in place. It is one thing about dreaming it, the other thing about going there and taking the plunge and really making it happen. You showed us really, in more ways than one that's really possible. It's fantastic. I think, I, I still, I've had 15, 20 years of exposure in my life to runners of various kinds. It started perhaps with Madhu Avasarala and Ponda San and a whole lot of people, and you are up there along with all of those stars. Really fantastic, Jay. Thanks so much for what you have done and for having shared this with us today. Hats off, and continue. More power to you. Continue to do what you're doing and inspire us more and more. So we all kind of stretch our boundaries as well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and again, I stress on something. I'm saying anything in life, if we keep it simple, and find solutions within that simplicity, I think we will excel.
The kiss
sometimes try to get, we try to get too technical. We look at all the impossibles before we could look at that one. And I'm saying get out and see how far you can go. You never know, you'll go the full distance or you will stop halfway. But that halfway stop will give you sufficient experience for you to accomplish it in the next half, the next time. And, basically it's to achieve the impossible, we need to get started. That's bottom line. And, if we get started with it, everything else becomes easy.
Jay, why don't you tell us your forward motto? You have not said the forward motto at all.
Oh, get it done.
Just get it done.
Get it done. Just get it done. There's nothing else to it. If whatever, get it done. Get out and get it done. And it's as easy as that. Yeah. Everything is easy. We complicate it. We just complicate it.
When you strip it down, it's as easy as that or as difficult as that. I mean, that is such a powerful verb.
Correct.
It's so easy, but so difficult, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
No, for sure. And again, my running gear, it's basic stuff. Nothing, no special stuff. Absolutely nothing. Everything is basic, and it carries me. I run it. I would not even divulge the distances I run with one tackies or one running shoes. I would not do that. Okay, so Sridhar knows that. But it goes, and I've not picked up injuries, and I'm happy with it. So yeah, that's basically it.
Good stuff. Anyone else?
Congratulations and thank you, Jay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I just want to say,
went on a long time, but thanks
Jay,
a lot.
as always, wonderful to hear you, and the simplicity that you bring to the whole thing is always, that stands out for me, right?
Thank you.
You always appear as a person who's, so underwhelming, but then what you do is so powerful. And it's been amazing listening to you. And thanks, Manoj, for bringing this over to all of us.
Thank you, Mahesh.
It was lovely listening to the whole thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amazing listening to you, Jay. And it was a totally out of the box experience listening to you.
Thank you.
So far, I knew that these long distance runs, people have crew, people have to, car, in one in front, one in back. Some people are offering food, and I've done few of them. So I had that experience and that thought in mind. You did it like, without any crew, without anybody supporting you, no food, no water, everything, on the road. It's totally amazing. I just can't believe this. It is possible to go, running or walking 200 kilometers without any baggage. I will have to, brainstorm with myself. It is really possible. What you are talking is truth. What you have experienced is, no, I really can't, honestly. I'm telling you on your face, it's unbelievable. Truly.
Yeah,
How
I
can
realize
you
that.
manage to come in a KSRTC bus without paying for the ticket? Unbelievable.
many people en route, many of the shop owners and many of the youngsters or the people that I've met. And when they ask me how you came, where's your car parked? Or and I said, no, I came, and I show them my legs. And they say, you cycle? I said, no, running. And they'll always running, and they can't believe it. They still don't believe it.
This old man has lost his mind. He's senile.
Yeah.
That would have been the reaction.
Exactly. Yeah. But it makes it all more interesting. It makes it all more an achievement in terms of a personal. It's all about the personal achievement. I think when you push yourself to that level, and I realize that I always say that I'm not as crazy as many of the Indian athletes. When I see some of the athletes, competing in events like Ladakh, and all those areas. The Himalayas, Sunil did the Himalaya marathon. What's the name? Sufeya is breaking records. There's another gentleman who's running 10,000 kilometers. Visak. Those are things that drives us or drives me. I look at that. I follow some of them. I don't go into the full stats, but I support them. I comment regularly because that word "well done" makes anyone go forward. They inspired by that, and that's basically it. So just pass.
Jay, what next? Jay, what next? Obvious question.
Yes, good question.
If you don't want to do the Himalayas, what are you going to do next?
A visit to South Africa. I'm overdue. That's first. That's first. But I'm, there's two things that I have in my mind, which I will do before the age of 60. I've got 5 years to complete that. I want to do the K2K. That was my dream. It's still my dream, and I want to do the Golden Quadrilateral. Push myself to that level. But next year, I'm doing the Salt March, the Mahatma Gandhi Salt March, from the point that he started to the end. I think it's 14 or 16 days.
Yeah.
14 to 16 days. Yeah.
You can no longer run Dundee in Bangalore after that. It'll be a fraud.
Dundee run. Yeah, the Dundee run. So I want to do that. I want to challenge that, and I think that'll be special for me. So yeah, that's coming up. Besides the Puttapati run, which is now an annual run, and Arvind, there's it. You want to challenge yourself to the level. You've got sufficient time to put in the practice. Anyone, that's on the panel. Puttapati is coming up in December. 160 kilometers. Relaxed, easy run. Support. We'll get support. And run. You don't need to run 160K. Run 42K. Run 60K, and get back. You're still close to home. So Satish is in this panel today, and I'm sure he supports that as well. We want to invite more people, not because of the significance of the run, but just so that it's everyone experiences the challenge. I think.
Would be looking forward, Jay. If I'll be around, I'll certainly join.
Looks like there's no power at Jay's end.
Jay ran out. Jay's battery ran out.
Jay went for a run.
Jay went for a run. Yeah, that's more likely.
So Manoj, I would request you to create one session with Sridharan. Sridharan has recently completed his Hyderabad full marathon.
Yeah.
And I think he finished first or second. I would be really happy if you create a session with him, and learning from him and listening to his story would also be a different.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
Arvind, whatever I am doing is nothing. Okay, so it's hundreds of people.
For you, it is nothing, Sridhar.
Sorry.
For many of us, it is out.
Sorry, I lost you for a little while. Sorry, I lost you all for a little while. It's raining heavy in Koramangala, and each
Yeah,
time
it's
it rains, the
raining
power
heavily
goes off.
here.
So I
It's
don't have.
raining like dogs.
We thought you went for a run.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right. I guess
Sridharan, please spare some time someday, maybe after a week or 10 days. Manoj will contemplate how to take it forward. He is very good at it. It's a request.
I mean, I have no problem, but I've not done anything out of the ordinary. So I'm just following what hundreds and hundreds of people have done already. So it's nothing new.
That's
What
okay.
I'm doing.
yeah, let's keep a series going.
It's good to be humble. It's good to be modest. Okay, after achievements in life, but some people like us would learn, new things from you. So it would be great if you conduct a session with Manoj going forward.
Okay. So
Okay,
thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Manoj, thanks Jay for sharing your
Thank
experience.
you.
And
Yeah,
thank you,
Vedant.
Manoj,
Thank
for
you.
bringing it out, just eliciting the response from Jay. It was very good. You created a platform. So thank you very much.
Thank
It was
you.
always
Thank
good
you.
listening to Jay. So, I mean, knowing Jay, I never had any problems believing that he could do Chittoor, but one thing definitely is mind-boggling is that he dared to do it alone.
Yes. Alone means absolutely alone. No other runner around him. If Satish would have gone with him, I would have thought दोनों ने एक दूसरे को संभाला होगा. But
yeah, right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much, Manoj, and thank you, Jay, for
Thanks.
sharing your
Thanks.
thoughts.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
this
you, Jay.
opportunity. Thanks,
Thank you,
Manoj.
sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye bye.
Good night. Thanks a lot.